Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today is our week 6 update on how the Bokashi is doing in the bucket system that I had. Now, if you remember, last week I dumped that bucket system into one of my 10-gallon totes, so this is really now a tote system. The inside of that bucket, I thought it was working really well, but it was actually compacted in that bottom. So it was just really, really compacted. There was no air getting in, and I think it was killing the worms. The worms were moving a whole lot. They didn't look very lively, so I'm hoping that dumping them out into one of my totes is going to help bring them back to life and also get them to work through this material, because the bottom was still, it was all anaerobic and did not smell great. It did smell for a day or two in my basement, but it dissipated very quickly once I added it to the system. I haven't been checking on heat very much, but I have added some crushed eggshells because I felt that they needed some grit maybe, and I did add a little bit of moisture, and I've added some coffee grounds that I've thrown in from just, normal rounds in the house. So that's what I've been doing, and let's go take a look at how this system is doing. And actually, just for a quick update, the Vermibag Max seems to have recovered fully and is starting to work on food. I'm not going to cover that right now. I'll have another update just on the Vermibag Max by itself probably in a couple weeks, and maybe even a harvest from the bottom to see how it did. So stay tuned for that. So let's go to the tote and see how it's doing. All right, so let's take a look at this bin and see how it's doing. So first off, let's look at the top. Quite a bit of moisture on there. Not bad though. So that's okay. I wanted moisture in here to make sure it could deal with the what was in here. So with that, let's just do a temperature check real quick. I haven't done that actually on this, so let's just do that real quick. 75 degrees. Let's just check the temperature of some of the stuff behind here, and that's at sorry, I can't really get there. There we go, 66 degrees. So it's a little bit warm. It's 10 degrees warmer than the rest of my area down here. So let's just dig around in here and take a look and see how things are doing. As you can tell, some coffee grounds in here. The worms have moved into the coffee grounds actually quite a bit. You can see them right here. You can see these worms have really moved in here. A little bit of an odor in here, but not too bad. This is that lobster shell. Big piece. That definitely has an odor to it, but we'll put that off to the side here. So coffee grounds are a little bit wet, but the worms, I'm glad to see that they're digging in. I was getting a little bit worried about them moving around and everything. Ton of little bugs in here. So these springtails, I don't know if you can see them or not, but there's a lot of them in this area. So there's a lot of bugs in here. I think this is what smells here. This is these grapes. There's still worms that are working on this grape stem in here. And it just, I think they smell like fermented grapes a little bit. So I've found that grapes tend to smell when I've added them to the worm bin in the past, so that doesn't surprise me all that much. We've got some stuff in here. This definitely has an odor to it. I don't know what this is. I don't know if there's a chicken bone in here. And it looks like that's maybe some avocado peels or something. More chicken bones. I'm seeing a lot of, let's see if I can show this. It does smell a little bit, but if I can get that to focus, there's a lot of little tiny springtails all over this. It looks like, I think that's what those are, springtails. So they're all over this material. This still definitely has an odor to it. I've got bugs that are already starting to dig into this. Actually, I'm not going to do this for very long. I think the fruit flies are out and they can smell this stuff a mile away. So it does look like the worms are starting to work into here, like right over here. I mean, these are some big worms too. I mean, these are red wigglers. These aren't European night crawlers, but look how big these guys are. So they're starting to dig into this stuff really well. So here's a corn on the cob, and they are starting to work into this. So I'm glad to see that. It does feel pretty moist and compacted down here. It would be nice to have this in a little bit larger bin maybe. Maybe I'd have to find something else I could put this in, or find some way to kind of sort it a little bit. So, but right now it does seem to be working. I don't want to dig up too much. I don't want to make this a really long update. I really want the worms to sort of work with this stuff. And I also want to keep this covered so that way I don't get a whole lot of odor. Or let me just dig around here a little bit. So I've got that corn on the cob. Some fruit and veggie matter, more grapes. Definitely a slight odor to this still. still working its way through. As far as the food, some fruit flies over there I see. I'm sure that they're finding this material. They'd love to go to this. This is all rotting material in here, or was rotting at one point, so some of their favorite stuff to go for. So another chunk of, I think these are coffee grounds. All right, so it's doing well. The worms are coming back to life, which I was really worried about with them, since they were dying off. It looked like when I looked back at my video that I made last time. So they weren't moving very much, sort of like these are. I mean, they're moving a lot more than they were. So they're coming back, which is good to see. So I need to cover this up. I need to keep this moist, and I need to keep this going and try to get this to be functional again. Now, I think one of the things I am going to do here, just because of the fruit flies in the area, I think I'm going to put a couple pieces of paper over the top of this. Paper should allow some of the air to flow through, but kind of keep some of the bugs maybe off of it. But this way it's also not too thick. So let me flip this one over. So just like that, just to kind of keep, make it where it's a little bit tighter on the sides. And I can add a little bit of water to it. And actually water will probably, you could tell with how wet the lid was, the water will probably eventually fall down and actually cover that piece of paper there. So that's my update for this week. It's working. It's not working great. As I've mentioned in the past, I probably would not do this in the house again. I'd probably do it outside or just buried in the yard as it recommends if I did Bokashi again. So I wouldn't do this in my inside worm bins. But that's my update for this week. It is moving along again. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, this will all be gone and we'll have a nice, good compost material to add to the yard. So thank you for watching, and I hope you subscribe and like my videos.